I like, again, because of coming on here, you're the first person I talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got into it. It's a difficult thing to start when you're 40 years old and you don't have I don't have an athletic background, but I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu now.
That's an amazing accomplishment. So congratulations on that. Because it's very difficult to start at 40. It's very difficult to get a purple belt. Getting a purple belt is like you're basically a black belt. You just need to put the time in. The difference between a white belt and a blue belt, the blue belt is like, okay, you're learning things. You now have an understanding of moves that's not just a beginner's understanding. Like, you know, a path. When you get into someone's side control and you trap an arm with your neck, you know how to slide into that head and arm choke. It's natural. It's automatic. When you get to a purple belt, it's like you've got some serious shit. When you get to a purple belt level, you know how to set things up. You know how to set traps. You know how to use defensive tactics to initiate offense. The only difference between that and a black belt is honing the edge and continuing to put in the time. The difference between my game when I was a purple belt versus my game when I'm a black belt is that I just learned more moves and became more consistent and then trained more and then got a better understanding of what to do and what not to do, and was much more responsible defensively and just got better condition and stronger. And that got me to black belt. But you're at purple belt level, which is that's the great divide. That's what separates someone who just starts Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with someone who gets to black belt. Can you get to purple belt? You're in the great divide.
Oh, that's the threshold, is it? Because I found it a difficult place to be, and I'll give a shout.
Difficult.
My teacher, Chris Clear, he's a very dedicated teacher. He's a black belt under Roger Gracie. For me, I moved in and out of it, you know, like not necessarily even because of injuries, because of time, and sometimes because part of me still holds on to the idea of not being crushed under somebody's shoulder. And like, you know, when you sort of, as well, when you're like my build, I weigh 80 kilograms. I roll with maybe a blue belt that's like 10 or 15 kilograms more than me. I can get so smashed up, you know. And there are other purple belts in our club that are similar size to me, and it's sort of like it's elegant and flow based, and there's some nice open guard and some things that are sort of pretty, but like I still have a reluctance to face the business end of jiu-jitsu, the grind, the harshness of that stuff sometimes, I guess. So my competence inhales and exhales, you know, like when I'm doing it a lot, I feel very good about myself. It feels good to articulate and physicalize something that for me as quite a cerebral man could just be conceptual, to feel what struggle is like. It's like why I like doing the hot and cold stuff as well, like experiencing saunas and cold plunges. Like, oh, this is what it's like to feel really uncomfortable and just to deal with it. You're not dying, it's okay. Right. And then, but like with the thing is that it's abstract with hot and cold. When you're like looking into another person's eyes and there's the idea of combat, and like I've obviously got some ego, you know, and when I experience, oh man, look at that, that's what it's like to be
smashed,
to be the nail and not the hammer. You know, that like I still deal with that. The first time I got, even as a white belt, when someone like guillotine choked me out a couple of times, I was like transported back to childhood. I like needed therapy. Someone else going, it's just a hobby that you're doing. Oh no, I've got to write a poem about this shit. This is bad what happened to me in that guillotine choke.
Did you ever read Sam Harris when he started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? He wrote I think it was called The Joys of Drowning.
I never read that, but it was him that introduced me to Huron Gracie, who I trained with also. But what did he say about that Joys of Drowning?
Just what he's learning about his pursuit of this thing. And, you know, also, I think similar age when he started doing jiu-jitsu. I think he was in like his 40s as well. And just trying to reconcile like this desire to learn this thing and just getting smashed by people and how difficult it is to get good at it, you know. But what a fucking amazing tool it is. I love rolling with people when look, it's exciting. Like jiu-jitsu is exciting, but there's something very fascinating about being a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt and rolling with someone and knowing they can't do anything to you. Like if I roll with some white belt and then they kind of spaz out on me or something and I just grab them and clinch them, it's like I'm in control of this. Like I've done all these numbers. I've putting all these fucking constant days of training like for so many years. I trained since I started training in 1996. It's like I've been doing it for so long that it's such a beautiful thing to have. And one of the beautiful things about jiu-jitsu is, I mean, the real lessons, or the real value in it, is that you overcome adversity, and it becomes a tool for developing your human potential through the struggle of like the physical struggle, the wanting to quit, not quitting, the developing the ability to overcome adversity, developing the mental fortitude. It's just this like incredible tool for managing the stress of life, because the regular life out there in the world is nothing compared to some big guy sweating in your mouth who's trying to fucking strangle you, which is like what happens. Or when somebody gets you in a triangle and you got your fucking arm is here and the leg is here and like, like it's so much worse than most life, yet still somehow enjoyable. You know, there's magic to it. It's just like there's very few things that are like jiu-jitsu in this life that can give you those kind of lessons.
Also, the trend of our time is more and more disembodying. There's more and more like strap a helmet on your head and life yourself off into the metaverse. And like if you think of how apes and comparable advanced mammals live in their bodies, and such a short period of time ago evolutionarily we would have been in our bodies like that. It would be normal to play with like and establish hierarchy in that way, and to know what your body is capable of. Like I suppose for me, one of the things I've got is that paradox of thinking, oh man, I'm capable of doing these things with my body. Also, other people are capable of doing things with my body. I don't know, next time I open my mouth in a moment of rage at a traffic light, who's going to step out of that car?
Right.
I don't know, like, because people surprise you.
Especially today. God, with the UFC, how many people know how to fight today?
Right.
It's so much more dangerous. You get out of your car in 1970 and you see a guy who's just wearing shorts and a t-shirt and no gun, no knife. You're like, I want to fuck this guy up. But now, who the hell knows? See, some 140-pound guy might arm drag you and take your back and strangle you unconscious in the middle of the road. Like, you really can't take those chances anymore.
That's your fault, actually. You've popularised that. They were condemning you for ivermectin. What they should have said is, because of this guy, people everywhere know how to rear naked choke. It's a menace. It's a menace in the highway.
There's a lot of people out there that know, and a lot of women, too, that know how to do it. There's a lot of people that know how to strangle people. And I think that's a beautiful skill to know. It's always good to have that. It's always good to know what to do if a conflict emerges. Because one of the beautiful things about jiu-jitsu as well is that unlike karate or a lot of other martial arts, you do it full blast. So the thing about sparring in kickboxing is like, man, if you spar full blast all the time, you're going to get brain damage pretty fucking quick.